All right, hey everybody, Quinn Everts here with FanSided.com. Super excited to be joined today by NBA veteran Seth Curry. Seth, first off, your Blue Devils are cruising through the NCAA tournament right now. What's the confidence level at that they finish the job and make it all the way?
It's sky high. They're looking real good right now. Obviously they had a super talented team, but I think they're peaking at the right time, getting better as the season goes along. They had some tough losses early in the season, but I feel like they're gelling together right now, and you want to be your best at the end of the season and doing a great job. So I'm looking forward to seeing them go all the way.
Yeah, they're kind of a tank right now. You're joining us today on behalf of Bush's Beans. What made you want to partner with Bush's Beans for this campaign? And you want to tell us a little bit about the Your Fam on a Can campaign that they're running?
Yeah, it's a cool partnership. We've came together with Bush's Beans because I think in my family, especially around this time, March Madness, we have a special recipe in our household. We call it Curry Family Caviar.
Nice.
It's kind of a play on cowboy caviar, if you've ever heard of that. But we use the Bush's beans, the black beans, I think chickpeas as well, and mix them in with some veggies, and it's kind of a nice healthy snack that we have around this time of the year. And um, it's really it's authentic to our household, and we do it throughout the year. And it's some way to get the fans involved. They can go to yourfamonacan.com, like you said, go on the website, and they can get their own can of beans like this with their family name on it, whatever bean they choose. And if they want, they can put their own recipe on the back. So it's a nice little keepsake to have in their house as well.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, that's a cool partnership you got going. I like that campaign a lot.
Yeah, so
So taking it back to your college days a little bit, you started your college basketball career at Liberty, you transferred to Duke, and then you sat out a year before playing at Duke because the transfer rules were very different back then than they are now.
yeah.
Did knowing you'd have to sit out a year kind of make you just consider the decision more thoroughly? And how do you feel about today's, college basketball world where there's like hundreds of guys in the portal at a time, guys are switching teams, constantly?
Yeah. It's completely different now. I had to think extremely hard, think twice, two, three times about whether I really wanted to go through with the transfer, just because, like you said, I had to sit out like a year. I knew it would be tough. I'm just working on my game, not being able to play. But I think I knew back then, I felt like it was worth it. I was making the decision strictly for basketball reasons, not really trying to get paid more or anything like that. So I feel like it was something that would benefit me long term. And these days, hopefully, you see some of these kids making decisions just being short-sighted, I would say.
Yeah.
Not like say trying to get the most money or whatever, but some might not help them in the long run if they want to have long professional careers or whatnot. So it's a different day. It's a different landscape, different lay of the land. And I think the transfer worked out for me, honestly, just being able to learn different things throughout that year. I had to sit out and the rest of my career. So, it's hard to say whether uh, it's beneficial to the more beneficial to the kids now or not, but it's
Right.
freedom, and it's the only way you could do it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And then, once you made it to the NBA, you went undrafted, spent a couple years in the G League, and didn't really earn, your first like legit NBA minutes until you were 25. And
Yeah.
that, the NBA, there's kind of this idea that, the league sort of gives up on guys by the time they're in their mid 20s, but you're basically an exception to that rule. Do you think, teams in the league in general are too quick to dismiss guys who, they come in at 19 or 20 years old, and then a couple of years in, if it hasn't hit like they expected, the league kind of moves on from them?
Yeah, that's just the risk you take when you enter the draft so young. They get the up close look at you. They kind of figure out who you're gonna. They have a good idea of who you're gonna be out there 2 or 3 years around the league in their program. They get to see your work ethic, your skill set, how you're gonna get better if they feel like you're gonna get better. But that's like I said, that's a tough decision you make as a youngster to go into the draft. And for me, coming in, I feel like I was not a finished product, but I've been through a lot of adversity. I knew I could. I was ready to play once I got that opportunity in the league. I feel like I was able to come in and contribute right away, and that's what I did when I got the opportunity. So it's two sides of the coin. You want to come in and be a professional, and some guys want to learn at the professional level, and some guys want to learn at the college level. It's just what's better for you.
Yeah, definitely. And now, over a decade into your career, you've played with, tons of different players, some incredible point guards. You played with Luka, played with Dame in Portland, and you play with LaMelo in Charlotte now. All those guys have very drastically different games, but they all make their teammates better, in their own ways. Can you give some insight just about like, what does a great point guard do to kind of help out shooters like yourself and the people around them and just kind of make life easier for everyone?
In today's league, you got to be able to score the ball. Point guard, it's hard to be a main guy, a lead guard in this league if you can't shoot the ball, score the ball, because you got to be able to attract multiple defenders and get guys like myself shots and things like that. So all those do it, and like you said, they do it in their own way, different skill sets, different sizes, but they all score the ball at a high level, average high 20s, even some around the 30-point mark, and then they're some of the best passers too in the league. So I think they're all great leaders, and I learned a lot of different stuff playing with all three of them, and was able to adapt and help those guys out.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, you're over a decade into a career now. If 2025 Seth Curry was having a conversation with a rookie Seth Curry, what do you think the biggest difference between the two of you would be? What's changed the most about you as a person or on the court from your rookie year until right now?
Ooh, tough question, but I think I would just say just stick to it. There was several times when I was in the G League, going through some tough times. I felt like I was good enough to play in the NBA, but not getting an opportunity, not knowing if I would ever get a chance to show what I could do. I would just say stick to it, keep working, and things have a way of working out. So don't stress as much, I would say.
Right. I get that. That's a good answer. If you weren't in the NBA, professional basketball wasn't the career path you took, what do you think it would have been? What fields would you have gone into?
Me personally, I always wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay, nice.
But yeah. I got a couple of my closest friends growing up are lawyers now, and I feel like that's the route I wanted to go. I still might do that. Who knows? When I retire.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can do that anytime. Go back to law. So, do you like to argue? You good at arguing?
Yeah, I actually enjoy I enjoy the reading part and just learning the law, and then obviously the argument part is fun.
Right, I like it. That's a good answer. Wasn't expecting that. That's cool. Yeah. Back to the NBA kind of on court product. Now in 2025, NBA teams are taking almost twice as many threes per game as they did when you entered the league, which wasn't that long ago. Do you think there's kind of a tipping point for this, play style in the NBA? Is there a point where threes, it kind of starts to retract a little bit and we go the other way? Or do you think this kind of just keeps going while everyone just becomes a better shooter and a better scorer?
As long as the rules stay the same and the lines and all the parameters stay the same, we're figuring out a way to optimize offense. And obviously that's by shooting more threes. But honestly, this is the most fun to watch. I don't love it, to be honest. I want to see guys, these athletes that come into the league and do different things. I want to see them do what they do best. I feel like sometimes you turn great athletes, great guys that are great at getting into the paint, finishing, or shooting mid-range, get some creativity. You turn them into three-point shooters. It's not as fun. So I think there needs to be a little bit of adjustments made from the NBA side as far as changing the rules or whatever it is to add some a little bit more diversity. But the guys are going to figure out a way to optimize offense, like I said. Yeah,
definitely. No, it feels like we're at a point where it makes sense to get guys to do that, but there are some times where you're like, this is not what you're best at. Go out there and do what your strong suit is.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you're always going to have teams or certain guys that take it too far. Like you see teams shooting 60, 70 3-pointers in a night, and it's like, if you make it's a 3-point contest. If you make them, you're gonna win. And if you miss, you're gonna lose. Like
right. If everyone gets cold,
then where's the variety in the league? I want to see different offenses and things like. But in the playoffs, you're gonna see the variety because it's a little bit of desperation, and everybody knows everybody play. You got to have individual players making individual plays, and that's where you see the stars come out.
Yeah, for sure. Are you aware that you have one recorded dunk in your career? And do you know what team that happened for? And do you think number 2 is on the table?
Is it just one? I thought I had a couple, but maybe they didn't give me.
Basketball
But
Reference says just one. You might be able to argue that.
let me see. I feel like was it in Toronto?
It was
Um,
against Toronto. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
with the
against
Blazers.
Toronto.
Yeah, it was when you were in
Yeah, yeah,
Portland.
yeah. I remember that one. That might be it. Yeah, I mean, I remember it crystal clear, so that might be the only one.
All right, I like. Well, if the play-by-play guy in Portland, Kevin Calabro, called it a layup on the broadcast, so next time you see him, you might need to take that up with him. Be like, that
Nah,
counted as a dunk, by the way.
he's a legend, man. If it's a layup, if he says it's a layup, it's a layup. I'll stick to the threes.
Do you have, 2025 heading into 2026, this season's kind of coming to an end. At this point, a decade in, do you sort of have an off-season routine to kind of get yourself into shape for the next year? How do you plan
Yeah,
out things like that, just looking forward, even though you've done it so many times?
yeah. I've kind of perfected my routine as far as off season things I like to do. I mean, you have to take some time to get some rest and then slowly work back up. Whether it's weight room work and different stuff to stay in shape and get in better shape toward the end of the summer when you're leading up to the season. But at the same time, I try to get creative. You don't want to get bored with your workouts and doing the same stuff, or you want to kind of get your trainers to come up with some different drills or different, like we have a week where we do some yoga or some Pilates or whatever, just to mix it up. But yeah, kind of perfected what I do as far as the off season work and know when to turn it off and relax and rejuvenate and when to rev it up head into training camp.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Seth, I think that's all the questions I got for you. I appreciate you hopping on and joining us today. Thanks for taking the time.
All right, absolutely appreciate it.